show is intended for all audiences, but some content may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener caution is advised.
Episode of The Quest. This time I have everyone unmuted. So, hey, welcome back. This is season 3, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today. This is our first episode of season 3 after our extended long break of, I don't know, like close to 6 months I think we were off. But that's okay. We've got a couple of new format things we want to talk about. Well, not talk about, but we're going to do. You'll see what it is. We're going to change the quest up a little bit. We're going to start talking about role-playing games, board games, tabletop gaming, all that kind of stuff, not just the other stuff we used to talk about. But I am joined today by some stunning folks, I guess. To that side over there is Laura.
Yay.
Derek.
Howdy.
And then Brandon.
Hello.
So, what have you guys been up to in the long time we've been down, Laura?
Much stuff.
Much stuff.
Being roped into being the marketing director for a convention and
how'd that
by someone else
go?
at the table.
Was that convention any good?
It was amazing. Amazing. And I'm also buying a house and getting used to a new job and
this
whatnot.
Typical stuff.
Yep.
Like everybody. Derek, what have you been up to?
Lots of work. Doing some new job duties, training people.
Duties.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Doing my duty.
Yeah.
Please, that booty.
Yeah. That. A little bit of camping over the summer.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Out to Remus out by Mount Pleasant area.
Okay.
Good spot. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They played any decent games recently? Other than the ones we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Pretty much the ones that we've talked about or are going to talk about.
Yeah. All right.
Don't spoil a surprise.
Spoilers.
That's what I do. I spoil things.
It's true.
It's damn true. Brandon, what have you been up to?
Pretty much the same old work and trying to get as much gaming in as possible. Not as much as I would like, but probably
as much
more
as you can before you die.
Probably more than what should be considered average, I suppose.
Everybody's average is a different size, right? I mean,
that's what she said.
Right?
Right? So, all right, well, with that, I guess my time off has been mostly the convention and working on games, and we've got a lot of new things we're going to talk about, things that we've got that we want to do, with not just this podcast, but with the Iron Herbivore podcast, which you guys can check out at ironherbivore.com. I have a new co-host for that show, possibly two, but I haven't talked to the guy sitting across from me yet, so got to get that done. But yeah, so that show is back on, and now this show is hit or miss back on. And we've got the videos. I've got a ton of videos from Gen Con we're going to do, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Other than that, let's jump into the games we've been working on. Let's start with the quick play card game from Game Right Studios. Game Right, I don't know, I think it's just Game Right.
Yep.
Called Sushi Go. This game is for people 8 and up. Takes about 15 minutes to play, which it's about 15 to 20 minutes, and is generally 2 to 5 players, although I did some math and you can actually do 6 players if you do it right. So I think everybody here has played this game. Hey.
At least once.
At least once or twice. Mm-hmm. So let's give a general run on what the game basically is. It's a card passing, point getting, right?
Card game.
Does that sound right?
Sure.
Play and pass.
It's a play and play. Pass and play game. There we go.
There you go.
Pass and play sounds like a thing.
Sounds like it could be a thing.
It generally plays in 3 rounds, and there's a bunch of different types of cards. Like, let's see, there's tempura and sashimi, dumplings, maki rolls, salmon rolls, other nigiri type things like squid and egg. And there's the puddings, which are your long game, wasabi and chopsticks. So basically, if you don't like sushi,
It really doesn't matter because you're not actually eating sushi in the game.
No, but you're going to want to eat sushi while playing the game.
That is true.
Yeah. But basically, there are 3 rounds of play plus dessert. It's like, think of it as a 3-course meal plus dessert. It's fun. I don't know. What do you guys think of the game? I mean, generally.
I like it. I like that it's quick to play and it's pretty easy to learn. Like, we went to Conclave yesterday, and we're hanging out, and we actually just brought a copy of Sushi Go with us, and we taught like four or 5 different people how to play it, just kind of on the fly, like as we were playing.
Plus I taught you how to play it.
It was pretty quick to. Well, yeah, re-taught me. Yeah. I had already played it.
Right.
Yeah, it is real quick, real easy. I really like the card designs. There's anthropomorphized sushi, basically.
It's sushi with faces, like that, like the salmon nigiri roll, which is worth 2 points, is like, it's like a little ball of rice winking at you, wearing a salmon on its head as hair.
Yeah, it's
I like the little wasabi ball.
The wasabi ball, yeah.
Jeff, it's looking at me.
It's looking.
Yeah,
directly at me.
They're real cute, real fun game, and real quick.
The only thing I'm disappointed with, there's the wasabi one there. It's just like a little ball of wasabi.
It's like
sleeping.
a little triangle with a face.
Yeah, it's like a dollop of wasabi. And the sashimi roll is the one up front. The one on the very front of the 3 of them is like super excited to be about eating. It's fantastic.
Who's not?
Isn't that the way all food?
Yeah, not just food, from what I understand. Too far. The only thing I don't like about the game is I think the cards feel a little bit flimsy. Like they almost feel a little cheap, but I do like it for the most part. And they take damage pretty quickly. Like, this game's only been played probably 20 or 25 times, and the cards are starting to get dinged up and scratched up, but they're not in protectors, so what are you going to do?
I would definitely recommend, they're starting to make smaller card game size sleeves to protect them. I would definitely recommend those.
I think these are roughly
for these in pretty much any card game that you enjoy and want to play more than one, a couple times.
I think the cards are just a little bit, they might be bridge card sized. They might be a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. It's hard to say, but they're probably about bridge card size, and they feel like a lower quality playing card, except the both sides are really high gloss, which is nice.
Yeah.
But they do come in a metal tin, which is nice. And really, for the price, you can't beat this game. It only cost $10, I think.
It was on sale, though, I believe.
It was on sale. They did have it at Confusion this weekend for, I think, $15. But even $15 for this game, a lot of times you're going to play it and everything else. In the time that we've had this copy of the game, which has only been 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, we've had this copy of the game. Yeah. And I've already gotten 4 other people to buy the game because they liked it that much, or 3 other people to buy the game.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that it's easy to take with you. It's really fast and easy to play. It is 8 and up, although I tried to play with my 8-year-old niece the other day, and it was too much for her to grasp right away. She didn't get the long-term point-taking portion of the game. Mm-hmm. So we stopped and played Monopoly, and I destroyed her and my sister in Monopoly.
Because you're a bad person.
Because I'm a terrible person, and I did not let my 8-year-old niece win.
That's how they learn.
Yeah,
stopping the next generation from being whiny bitches.
That's right. One game at a time. It's a kids learn type game. It is designed for people to help teach their children things like this game specifically says on the back, it's kids learn strategy and probability. And that's good because I think it does actually teach you quite a bit. And the more people you play with, the dynamic of the game changes significantly for each person you play with. Because what you do is you play one card, everyone plays at the same time, and then you pass the cards to the left or right, depending on how you decide to do it. And you can switch it back and forth depending on. I mean, it actually
the right if you're Jeff, the left if you're everyone else in the world.
Yeah. But it does actually have a variant in there to switch it up so you don't pass the same way every round. Ooh. That way you don't have to worry about, it helps break up that strategize. Right?
Which is good. A lot of the CCG games that have draft formats will do that. You'll get a pack of card, pick one, pass it to the left. Then once that pack is done, you open up the next one, take your
Right.
card, pass to the right, and so on until you're done drafting.
Which means
your
it's great to
cards.
be on the ends, but sucks to be in the middle. The game has a lot of variant rules that are just, like passing both ways, 2-player variant. It does play 2-player pretty well. The 2-player variant adds a third hand. It's that ghost
Yeah,
hand that we played.
third like dummy player essentially.
And that was fun. I actually liked playing
Yeah.
that. It's 108 cards, and I believe if you do the math right, it divides up. You can actually do 6 players and have no cards left over if you only deal, 6 cards per player as opposed to the normal 7, 8, 9, or 10, depending on how many people are playing. It's a fun game. I definitely recommend it for anybody who wants to pick it up. And yeah, about that. We have another game we were working on too. Laura didn't get to play this one, but Brandon, me, and Derek played this one, and this is one of your favorite, Derek, right? This is King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo, yeah, real fun. Again, it's 2 to 6 players. I'd say probably. I believe it's 8 and up also.
Right.
Mostly just because there's some little small energy cube things that might be a choking hazard for smaller kids.
Right. Yeah, definitely. The complication of the rules is not enough that I would think. I'd think anybody.
Yeah,
anybody can
not real complicated. Pretty easy. Strategy based. Everyone picks a monster, and you got a little board which is Tokyo, and the goal is to be on that board as the king or queen of Tokyo City.
Yeah. It's another one of those games that we played, and if I had known the cards a little better, there's a lot of cards in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety. Played it about just the base game 6 or 7 times, and I've only seen a couple of the cards repeated.
Yeah.
And each of the little cards lets you do different things with your monster.
Right. And you buy them with your energy cubes, and it's a dice rolling game.
Yeah, dice rolling game.
Dice rolling resource management, I suppose, is the way I would put it.
Yes, yeah, that's 6 dice. Roll the dice up to 3 times. Each side of the die has got a different possible result, and you determine what is the best result for you, to either damage your fellow monsters or to try and win by getting 20 victory points.
Yeah. So the game is, like I said, if I had known the cards a little better when we played, I probably would have done my strategy a little different. But Derek got fortunate enough to have a respawn at one point during the game. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I would have won that one.
It's possible. There is a lot of luck involved with the die rolling and the card draw. I just happened to get a couple good cards, and
I mean that's one of the things I like about the games that. You can only strategize so much. Probability is a factor, and I think that's a lot more fun, especially for newer players and to get people involved instead of one person just knowing every card or super well and just winning every single time.
Right.
I'd pretty much given up like any chance of winning, and then I got that Shrink Ray card and got lucky with some die rolls and just happened to pull it off.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was already out of the game by then, though.
Yeah.
So definitely play to the end. You never know what'll happen.
Oh yeah, and the quality of the game is pretty nice. I mean, the box is a typical cardboard box. It's pretty heavy duty cardboard. It's not like
heavy
Monopoly
duty.
light.
Yeah, everything is sectioned off inside the box. Keep all your stuff together.
The dice are huge and heavy.
Yeah, big heavy dice. Very hard to lose.
Yep.
So does the
little energy cubes?
Does the giant version of the game is it a totally different game?
Same
or
game.
It plays the exact same way
Yeah, it
even?
plays the exact same way.
That's funny.
You eat the giant energy cubes, and you roll the big dice, and you move the big 50s
The big cardboard
era
cutout looking
monsters. Yeah.
Monsters, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next step is there's a couple expansions for it, Power Up and Halloween.
Which we haven't had a chance to play yet.
Those are the next step. Those let you evolve your monster to a more powerful form, and brings in a little more strategy.
Right. And they're coming out with a new version, the King of New York.
King of New
right?
York, yeah. That one looks definitely looks like it's designed for larger groups.
It does. There's it's the entire Manhattan. The board is Manhattan, and there's a lot of more spaces. Like on the normal board, it's only like what 8 inches.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's 2 spots on it. There's the Tokyo Bay,
And
which is
Tokyo.
used for what 4 to 5,
5 to 6 players.
5 to 6 players.
5 to 6 players.
And the other spot, which is inside of Tokyo, and then all your other monsters are outside of Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small board too. I mean, it's only 8 inches about. I would think.
Yeah, it's about
8 by 8
8
square. Mm-hmm. It might even be that big. I don't know. But it's a fun game. I don't know how much that one retails for.
I want to say that retails for about 20
Okay.
for the base game.
So not too
Expansions
bad.
are
That's
about
not
10 to
bad.
15.
Yeah. Cost wise, I mean, if you can find it for a little cheaper than that, I think it would be a way better deal. But I think it's right about right. I think $20 is right about the right price for it. You can play that game a lot. So
Yeah, there's a lot of cards. There's a lot of replay value, even without the expansions.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed the couple times I've played or seen it played, and again, if you go to a lot of conventions, there's a pretty decent giant one they take around to different conventions. So
Yeah,
fun
they
game.
had that at Grand Con, and we also saw it at Gen Con. Right?
Yep. So on that, we're going to move into real quick, talk about some sponsors and stuff like that. We're going to talk about we don't have our normal sponsors at the moment. We're going to get back to them shortly, but we are currently working with the Morning Owl in Milan to help them with their board game nights every Friday night. And by help them, I mean we're going there and taking a bunch of board games with us to play and some role playing games.
We're going there and playing their games. That helps,
Well,
right?
we're playing our games. We're taking our games to them, and we're advertising them on, both the podcasts and everything else, and Meetup and whatnot. So if you want to join us to learn a new game, to figure out what games you like, what you don't like, that kind of stuff, and help us get ready to review more games for the show, you can join us on Friday nights from 4:30 until technically 7, but they're usually open later if there's people there and they're selling, coffee and whatnot. Also, very good coffee. I'm not a fan of coffee. I don't really drink it. I've gotten into mocha recently. The double espresso thing is murdering me.
The Irish cream.
The Irish,
That they
Irish
brought in
cream
just
double
for
espresso.
you.
They got the Irish cream just for me. I don't think that's true necessarily, but I'm going to go ahead and believe it is. I choose to believe that. We're also going to be doing some new things. We're going to be going to we're doing a mega game, hopefully pretty soon.
Hopefully.
I talked to the gentleman who runs YomaCon yesterday, and he really, really wants me to do it.
That would be cool.
So we're going to see if we can get the first one done at YomaCon. The problem is I'm running out of time to be able to get everything made up for the game, because YomaCon is in, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I believe so.
A little over 2 weeks,
About 2 weeks. So either way, we're going to be at Gen Con. We're going to be at YomaCon.
Or a little under 2 weeks.
A little under, but we're going to be at YomaCon. I'm going to do 2 shows. We're going to do an Iron Divorce show with, I think Sarah's going to be there. We're going to do an episode of The Quest. We may or may not have some panels to go as well, although I don't know at the moment because it's hard to say. Things are up in the air at the moment, but hopefully we'll know very soon. We're also going to be involved with a lot of other things. We're going to have some stuff coming up for GFX that you're going to want to keep your eyes out for. We'll talk more about it when we actually have it. But in the meantime, I think things are going pretty good. We're doing all right. We do have some videos we're doing for this show. I've got a lot of stuff we picked up at Gen Con. We've got an interview with the people from Margaret Weiss Productions. We've got an interview with a bunch of independent gamers. Sparks Games, that one's already up online. The Margaret Weiss one should be up about the same time as this podcast comes out. So make sure you check that out on YouTube. It'll also be in the show notes. I'll have a link to it in the show notes for this episode. So that's a good one. It's a 15-minute play with me and the actual designer and creator of the RPG. So you get to find out a lot about it, and she's a really very nice person. And I hate to say that at this exact second, I cannot remember her name.
Oh, man.
I will know it by the time we get to that section of this. But she was very, very helpful. They did a really good job with this game, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So we can go ahead and move right into the Firefly RPG by Margaret Weiss Productions. Before we get into the rules or anything like that, we can start just by the basic feel and look of the book itself.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with the book. It looks like decent binding, great, like high quality paper.
Yeah, the artwork is very, very good. It's a heavy book.
It's a heavy book, well organized.
Yeah.
I think
It's not too bad priced. I think it was $49.
I want to say about somewhere between
$49.99, $50. Sounds about right. But it feels like you're getting your money's worth in that book.
Yeah.
So the artwork is brilliant. It definitely feels like a Firefly environment when you open up the front cover and get into the pages and whatnot. The coloration of the pages, and it's a full color all the way through a book, but the coloration of the pages is really, it fits. So the system is the Cortex Plus system, which is similar to the original Cortex from. I didn't mute my phone. Similar to the original Cortex system from Serenity RPG, and this is, to be fair, this is to make people aware, it is not the Serenity RPG. It is almost in every possible way completely different. Other than it is the Joss Whedon Firefly-esque universe. This game is actually based on the show and not the movie. There is no real content from the film, which is
so good.
So good. It doesn't play.
Haters.
Oh, yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Whedon haters.
Yes. Sort of, yes. A little bit, yes. Monica Valentini is the creator, one of the head writers of the system, along with Mark Diaz-Truman, Brendan Conway, Jack Norris, and Dean Gilbert. Of course, there are contributions from the incredible Margaret Weiss, Rob Whelan, P.K. Sullivan, Dave Chalker, Cam Banks, Phil Bernard, and Tommy Lee. Tony Lee, sorry, not Tommy Lee. That's a whole other thing. But the main developers and the person I sat down with at Gen Con was Monica Valentini. We're also going to possibly do an additional video with her, an additional interview with her about the game. It is $49.99. You can get it at Margaret Weiss Productions at your local gaming store. But the difference really comes down to the biggest play difference between this and the Serenity game is the Cortex Plus, where it's really a lot more like the Fate system, where it's really open and it's different. I know that my players, you guys had kind of a hard time getting adjusted to it.
Yeah. It took a session or two. I'm still to get used.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it.
Some of us it took a session or two to get used to.
Show off.
It's extremely different. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's extremely different. It is not like the games we're used to playing. It is not. If you like storytelling games, it's really good for that. Like I said, it's kind of like Fate, where there's a lot of open collaboration, a lot more open collaboration than you would expect from most games.
Yeah, it's very free flowing and just open. Like depending on what you're doing, your dice pool could change, every time. Right.
And it's only 3 attributes, a handful of skills. I would say maybe 20 skills tops. Tops. And then there's assets and distinctions, right? Which can add dice depending on how you can fit them. You as a player can fit them into the story. And then of course there's complications and things like that will help change the die pool. And you basically roll kind of like the old Cortex system. You roll anything from a D4 to a D12.
Yep.
And it changes basically your level of skill, your level of your attribute, level of your distinction, the level of your asset changes what die you roll. But you only ever keep 2. No matter how many dice you roll, you can roll 2 D12s, 4 D6, and a D4. And you're only going to keep 2 of those dice.
Yep. Unless you spend a Brahma die.
Plot point, which you get for being creative with your personal storytelling and by bringing your distinction in. Like one of them is
complications.
Like there's the character I played had a distinction called friends in low places. So if I could come up with a creative excuse for my character to have someone around that I know, like say a rival mercenary, I could be like, hey, yeah, I know that guy. We're friends. So I can, we work that in and get him to help us.
It puts a lot of the onus for the storytelling on the players, which I think is what caused some confusion amongst my players. Is especially in recent years, I think the group has been much more expectant of the story and not as involved. It's more of reading along with the story and making some decisions so much as I'm not as much as writing the story. But the collaborative nature of the Cortex Plus system, along with things like Fate, and there's another system we're going to talk about later in a different episode that's the Ubiquity system from Hollow Earth. These systems are really, really collaborative, and once my players got into it, and we had Jamie and Laura, Evelyn, Derek, Brandon. This group, once you guys got into it, it really started picking up. The last couple of adventures that we did, last couple of sessions that we did, really picked up.
Yeah, I think once we found the voices for our characters and got into the story, it definitely got going.
Yeah. I had a hard time wrapping my brain around all of the what were those distinctions? Those are the ones that are...
The distinctions and the complications. Yeah, the distinctions you and Evelyn both had a hard time.
Yeah. Because I had like ship's captain,
right,
which was like, so basically, I had a hard time figuring out when I could apply that,
right. The distinctions and the assets the assets are less vague than the distinctions, but the distinctions are pretty vague. It's like a one-line thing with a short, quote. And
in some cases, not even that.
Yeah, well, the quotes are usually in the book, I think. I didn't have my guys' sheets, but...
That might have helped.
Yeah, the assets are more like Jane's gun Vera, his favorite gun. Mm-hmm. So that's an asset, whereas distinction is kind of like ship's captain, right? Places, ship's doctor,
right? First mate,
fighting type,
mercenary,
things like that, which are kind of give a hint to, or basically used for character's personality and background.
Right, like a distinction of what makes the character. It's what makes the character distinct from other people. It's why it's called a distinction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, and then you have to kind of. It's up to the player to sort of decide when that applies.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like there's.
I'm assuming
any
that
set
should
rules.
Be, the player tries to use it, and
the player is supposed to give a reason why it comes into play.
Right.
So you're the ship's captain. You are supposed to. The game is a bit more narrative in that respect. Mm-hmm. So you're supposed to explain why the ship, being ship's captain, actually does benefit the situation.
Right. Yep.
Or you don't really have to say it as long as you can justify it.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's asked. So your Malcolm is. The example we used in the Margaret Weiss when I was talking to Monica was that Wash and Mal are having a fight about where they're going to go, and Mal tells them we're going to go here to Persephone, and Wash says, but I promised Zoe we were going to go over here on vacation. Mal says, no, you're going to do it. They roll their opposing attributes. Mal's the ship's captain. Technically, I suppose Wash could roll that he's the ship's pilot, but that doesn't really trump.
It doesn't give him any power.
It doesn't give him any real power.
Other than to just fly the ship.
Other than just to fly
wherever he wants to.
Yes. Except then comes in some of Mal's other ones, like his assets, like his gun.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, that you roll your opposing and based on your varying degrees of success is you take damage, and the damage, then quote unquote damage in this respect, is the number of complication dice you get. It's a little confusing for people like myself who have been playing more traditional role-playing games pretty much for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With actual hit points and actual, maybe
moon boxes or whatever.
Right.
And while I really enjoy the diversity for this game, I'm still having a kind of a hard time with the damage, quote unquote damage system for it.
To be fair, we only played that one.
We played one adventure.
Yeah. So that was only maybe four sessions or so?
4 or 5.
4 or 5 maybe?
I want to say 5. Each adventure is supposed to be like an episode of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're not supposed to take nearly as long.
Right, exactly. We had a lot. We had quite a bit of time between some of the sessions.
Well, we had a lot of sessions that were really slow to get going because it was a new system, and we were specifically doing this for the purpose of reviewing the system.
Right.
So we added. You know,
I think I'd like to play it. I mean, I'd like to play it more.
Yeah, I
And-
enjoyed it. I definitely
would.
I'd recommend it for anyone interested in a story-based role-playing
If
game.
you like the Fate system, I think you'll really like Cortex Plus.
If you like an interactive, more of an interactive storytelling, one of the things that I've had problems with is with some of these games is like you get these things and you're like, well, I could possibly use this to kind of make this minor change to the story, but I don't know how the GM will react or this or that. And you don't want to cause too much hassle for the GM by introducing these little things.
Right.
If that's not the type of game that you or your GM is used to, and getting out of that mindset
Yeah.
takes a little bit of doing, but it can make it a lot more entertaining in the long run, I think.
Right. One of the things that we've been trying to do with some of the games that we've been reviewing or that we've been playing lately is trying to learn something new about role playing. It's when you've been playing games for as long as we have, it's hard to change your mindset. And I think that in order to maintain the real enjoyment of role playing, it's nice to be able to switch things up and tell different types of stories and different types of systems and different types of collaboration. And I think this game really helps if you're a long-term D&D type role player, or if you're more into the storyteller games like World of Darkness and whatnot, or even if you're just into Fate. If you like Fate, I think this is a good one too. I really can't. It's very similar to Fate in a lot of ways. So if you've never played Fate, or if you have played Fate, if you have played Fate, I think you can really get into the Cortex Plus and make the game something really enjoyable, because it does maintain, like, the first portion of the book, like the first half of the book, is an episode by episode breakdown of the 14 original episodes of Firefly and how the system works in those episodes, which is really cool, and it really does help you understand more of what's going on. We didn't get into a lot of that.
Yeah, it might have been a little easier if instead of like we did just to jump into it, that most of us really didn't even look at the book hardly.
Yes.
For more than just a couple passing glances. It was like, okay, here are the available characters.
Right.
These are the characters I have in mind for you, and let's get going. And
it was a lot. We did a pre-made adventure with pre-made characters. Well, I made the characters, but. It was either way. I think it came out really well, and I do believe that the game has a lot of potential for the future.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely does. And looking through the character creation rules and stuff, it's real simple. Honestly, the longest, like the hardest part is going to be trying to decide on what makes your character distinct, like the different distinctions and stuff like that. Because there's so many cool ones, and it's what do you want to play?
I think the character creation. I think to make all 6 characters or 7 characters that I ended up making, I think it only took me probably an hour and a half to make all the characters.
Yeah, real simple.
It's maybe a 5 or 6 minute character creation if you've read the book. The problem, I do admit, the book is $49.99. It's a little pricey just to pick up and look at, to pick up just to have it. But it's really not that far off from the other games that are currently on the market.
No, and it's everything you need to play the game in one book. Whereas, like,
correct, yes.
Yeah,
you don't need a player's guide and a GM's guide.
Yeah, you're more exactly. You're more traditional systems. You're paying $50 for at least 2 books.
Right.
That you need to play. So it's half the price. You got everything you need in there. It's got a great description of the settings. Like it breaks down the different planets and stuff in the whole area for like the Firefly universe. And it's got a nice little section on for fans of the show. The Chinese, Chinese is a big part of the language, and it goes over pronunciation, common phrases, a lot of stuff like that.
It's really you can tell that there's really a lot of love that went into this book, a lot of passion for the Firefly universe, and according to the Margaret Weiss Productions people, this book, anything that goes on in this book is actually considered to be canon. So the new expanded universe that they have there, it's not just the 6 systems that they had in Serenity. It is actually approved by Joss Whedon canon, which doesn't really help my. Maybe it helps my opinion.
I know you don't like the movie, but a lot of the other expanded universe stuff they've done, the comics and stuff.
The comics are really bad.
They're not that bad.
Some of them.
They're really, the storylines I think are really bad. But I digress.
I'm gonna have to settle this Thunderdome style.
Two nerds enter, one nerd leaves.
We need to expand into video for that though.
Yes. We are working on moving the show to video.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Kirk versus Spock.
I'll take the loss if I get to be Spock. Anyways, the other book that came out with this recently was Firefly Echoes of War, Thrilling Heroics. Another nice book. This one's a soft cover all the way through. Full color, very nice. It bends a little easy, but it's a soft cover. What do you expect? No big deal. The books do wear pretty well. They've been beat up in my satchels and stuff, but mine are both signed, so they're very nice.
So you can see Jeff had a little trouble reading the name of the book. Then both books use a lot of the vernacular from the show. So
there's actually a third book we're going to talk about in just a second.
You're dropping G's.
Yeah.
And,
your Western style
shiny and stuff like that.
So. I had to brush up on my Firefly Chinese so that I could remember what all the slang was.
I threw a couple
and
in.
Some
I
of
used
the
Gosa and some of that kind of stuff. And we had Badger, even though I could not for the life of me get my Cockney accent to work.
You did okay in the last session, I think.
Yeah. Normally, I can do these accents all day long if I'm shouting at the top of my lungs in my truck, but I can't do it when I'm sitting in front of people and I'm talking on a microphone.
Right.
Plus, Mr. Shepard is just awesome. His portrayal of Badger is fantastic.
Yes. Anyway, Thrilling Heroics combines the 4 standalone adventures that were released for the Firefly RPG, including Wedding Planners, which is the one we did, by the New York Times best-selling author Margaret Weiss. So that's the one that she wrote. So when Jamie complains that this is a poorly written episode, he can blame one of his favorite authors, who I did not have the guts to interview in person.
Right.
I will probably get her next year, though. There's a bunch of other ones. The only one we've actually gone through so far is the Margaret Weiss Wedding Planners. One of them is written by Monica Valentini, the creator of the system. Mm-hmm. We will play that one at some point. So far, I think they're actually laid out pretty well. They're very episodic, and they feel like television episodes. So if you're not into that style of play, I recommend you just go freelance it. But that's true of anybody who doesn't. It is difficult to run pre-made adventures unless it's something you're used to doing.
It definitely can be. And I actually thought the adventure was fairly well written. The only complaint I had was I thought some of the names were really funny.
The names were terrible. Templeton Steel was a terrible name.
That's the name in particular I was thinking of, but I think is hilarious because it just reminds me of my love for both the A-Team and Remington Steel.
Yes. I still like the.
It fits the
Jack Blackie Blackjack.
That wasn't the name they did. That was the name we did.
Well, we took the name in there and went ridiculous.
Just added a bunch of words.
Well, yeah,
right?
The actual name in there is just Blackjack.
Okay.
But I'm like, okay.
No, it was something else.
No, it's just, if you read it, it's just Blackjack.
Okay.
But I needed a first name and last name because I wanted a moniker, so I had Vincent Blackjack Black or something, and then I'm like, no, it's got to be Jack. It's Jackie Blackjack Black something. It was Blackjack Blackie Jack. Blackie, that's what it was. It was Blackie and Blackjack were the two in the book.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out how to use them, and I kept saying them wrong. So I'm like, all right, his name is Jackie Blackjack Blackie Black.
Shenanigans ensued, spiraled way out of control, and his name ended up becoming like 20 minutes long.
Yep.
And used.
But and then it came back around for our the very end of the episode. Yeah,
which was
pretty awesome.
That was a very nice touch by Jamie.
Yep.
Yeah, very well done on his part.
The gambler character that Jamie was playing was mistaken for this character Blackjack, and had to convince people that he wasn't. And then finally at the end, he's sitting down with some other people playing, and he's like, "All right,
after he takes their money and walks away, or is about to walk away.
Tell everyone you lost to Blackjack."
Yep. There's another book coming out in the holiday season of 2014. It is available for pre-order right now at margaretweiss.com. And this one is called Firefly Things Don't Go Smooth, as you might expect. Nice cover. I'm assuming this is also going to be a full-on paperback. It's the same price, $34.99, as the the adventure book, Thrill and Heroics. This one is going to feature 4 types of antagonists ranging from crime bosses to the unexplained. Offers advice on how to handle Reavers using the Cortex Plus system. New rules for introducing scene triggers, giving the GMs more dice to roll, which could be interesting. That's one of the things I had a problem with. This it seemed almost too easy sometimes. The defender almost always failed on either side, both player or GM. So I'm interested to see a little bit more of that. And the use of our fantasy episode generator to help you never get stuck again. I'm looking forward to this book. I will probably pick it up. I will definitely pick it up because that's how I do. But it looks so good. I don't know much about it. We'll if we get Monica on the show in the next couple of weeks, we'll have her talk about it and see what she says. So the additional games you can get at margaretweiss.com that do use the Cortex Plus system, I'm not sure. Oh, that's the Margaret Weiss novels. Yeah, there's the Firefly RPG, the Leverage RPG, which I have no desire to do, although I will review it at some point.
Actually, I think that could probably be fun.
I
Leverage,
really
like the show?
hated the show Leverage.
Really?
Hated it.
I don't know if I ever saw.
I
might have seen an episode or two, but it seems like it could be a
hijinks.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the A-Team meets CSI kind of deal. From what I saw, like the one or two episodes I saw.
A little bit. It's basically this criminal. Well, I don't even know that he's a criminal, but he gets a bunch of different criminals together and forms this team to start doing Robin Hood type deeds.
It's like a heist kind of show, right?
Kinda.
Yeah, it's a crack team of specialists that use their thieving skills to help people in need.
Okay.
Yeah. If I remember
very
correctly,
18-ish,
Right.
But
Yeah.
for modern time.
The leader, they basically break it down where it's each person is the specific thing. Like the leader is either the mastermind or the brains. I think the one season they called him mastermind, but then in other ones they called him the brains. And then there's like the grifter, the
the cat burglar, the heavy, the muscle
hacker,
guy and a hacker,
the hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
grifter.
seems like it could be something that would be fun to.
Especially done
Fun
in
to
an
play.
episodic
Yeah.
format,
Yeah.
like the Firefly game,
Right.
And I will admit that the Margaret Weiss system is very, very good at the Cortex Plus system is very good at maintaining that cinematic style, that television cinematic style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure it would portray movies as well, but it does have the epic nature, but it has the real collaborative, fast-paced, changing kind of stuff. I'd like to see an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. game based in the system. I think that'd be cool.
Possibly, because they do also do the Marvel
They
game.
did do the Marvel. They don't do it
did do the
anymore
game.
because now they're owned by Disney. So
Right.
that's one, if you can find it, to pick up the Marvel, was it Marvel Superheroes?
Marvel superheroes, yep.
That is a really cool game. I think you, Derek,
I
have that one.
haven't
I don't have that one. I have the
yeah.
DC one. I thought I had both, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
never
pick that
played
one
that,
up.
did we?
We never did.
Okay.
No,
The system was confusing. It was hard to understand
it's until we actually sat down and played it
Yeah.
in the Firefly system. I'm like, oh, okay, this totally makes sense now.
right. But and it would make it would be really good for that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to check that one out in a future episode. Some of the other games we're going to talk about in a future episode before we talk a little bit about the difference between Firefly and Serenity, the RPGs. We've got a couple games. A game called Luchador. Looking forward to that one by Spartan Games.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
That should be a blast.
I just got a new one a couple days ago that we need to take a look at called High Strung. It's a story. It's a RPG about playing a band through the 70s, 80s, and 90s in that rock scene. I don't understand how it works, but I've read of the rules. We'll get to it. I'm not gonna spoil it yet. We've also got Hollow Earth Expeditions, which we're working on right now. Which so far the one gaming session we've played, I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. The characters, the pre-made characters,
Are
are just
brilliant.
awesome. It literally took me like half an hour to decide between two characters
They were
because I
pre-made.
kept going. Every 5 minutes, I would change which character I was leaning towards because they were so good.
We're gonna get Jeffrey Combos, the writer and creator of the game, on the show. He's already done an episode interview, a short interview with us at Gen Con. That video will be up before that episode comes out. Turns out he's a friend of a friend of mine, and our master of ceremonies at GFX apparently lives like 6 blocks from him. A longtime friend of mine. Very cool. But we're gonna try to get them on the show. Very good, very pulp. type stuff. We've got a few more board games we're going to talk about. We've got X-Wing we're going to talk a bit more about. There's a few new waves of that. Assault is coming out. Armada is coming out for that. We've got Flashpoint and Pandemic and Lords of Waterdeep, and there's just a million games out there we're gonna cover. And so hopefully you guys can join us for those episodes. They should be fun to review, and we're gonna play a lot of these games at the Morning Owl in Milan here on Fridays from 4:30 to 7ish, a little later maybe. And we're also doing some other days as well and whatnot. But hoping to do some big game nights. There you go. That's my short promo.
Well done.
The difference between the Firefly and Serenity RPG. Let's talk about that real quick. You guys have all played the Serenity RPG.
Yes.
What did you guys? I mean, what do you think the difference is? I mean, obviously the system itself is
The systems are different.
less. It's less strict. The new system, I think.
Yes. Yeah. The Cortex Plus or whatever from Firefly is definitely more open, more freeform. I thought the game in general is like that, where Serenity is closer to your traditional RPG with set dice pools,
Right.
It's set everything really. It's
much more
Firefly is
traditional.
more open sandbox, and
Right.
Serenity was more spacefaring.
Yeah. Well, it was really based on trying to recreate the atmosphere of the movie, which I think it did an okay job of. I really personally believe the system was terrible. I did not enjoy it at all. I don't think I enjoyed it. I don't think I've enjoyed really ever playing that game.
I don't remember that much about the system.
Even though you ran a game of it.
Yeah.
It was kind of, but it was a little more modified.
Yeah, we only played one game too. Like one session too.
It was a system, but it was kind of like it used all the different types of dice, right? And you upgraded to bigger dice and
upgrade your dice and downgrade difficulties, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
So yeah, I don't remember. I feel like it was hard to succeed at a lot of the rolls, though.
I just mostly what I remember from the system is that it just didn't really feel. It felt kind of half-assed, honestly.
Yeah.
The quality of the book was pretty nice. You know, the interior covers were very nice. The spine was good. The book was a nice cover. It was terrible. It was based on a terrible movie.
Right.
It was based on a really good show.
That's really my biggest problem.
And you really couldn't do it. It was hard to mimic the Firefly show in the system.
Yeah.
I think it lacked a lot of the things that they definitely corrected in the new system. So if you have a chance to pick up the book, support Margaret Weiss, I suppose. But you're really better off picking up the Firefly RPG. It's a much better game in general.
Yeah.
So, anybody else want anything on that one? I know you played that one a few times, Brandon.
It was all right. I'm not a huge fan of the system. I'm still getting used to the new Cortex Plus system. I'm not a super big fan of it because the roll these dice and only keep 2, and if you get a 1, it gets you the complications and stuff, which it can add to the overall story, but then it just kind of makes it hard to succeed in some cases, because it's like, okay, I'm rolling these dice and now I've got, 2 1s, 2 and a 4, and so my total roll is 6, and I needed like a 10 or 12 to do anything.
Right.
So now I've got 2 complications. And
I will say that the only thing I didn't like about the system so far is that it does seem to be, it's free form enough that it actually seems to slow things down sometimes. Unless you're really quick on your feet and your GM is really quick on his feet, it can bog things down pretty quickly. Maybe we should get some clarification on that, how all that works, because I mean, I felt that it really benefits the system, the setting, I mean, but there were times when it became more of a hindrance to the progression and the pacing of the story than anything else. So
I was actually thrown off by the whole thing with where you're supposed to roll in role-playing situations. I mean, like sometimes, like I found that we were doing a lot of, instead of role playing something out, we were rolling dice to see what the outcome it was of the role playing.
Yes
scene,
and no.
but
that was partially because of the pre-made adventure.
Yeah. And I think that part of it was I wasn't used to doing it that way.
Yeah.
But that can also be, I think the thing is to adapt you want to adapt your role-playing style a little bit, but you also want to adapt the game to fit your role-playing style.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and our role-playing style has always been, my GMing style has pretty much always been, you don't need to put as many points into a skill that is a role-playing skill if you're going to be able to role-play it. I mean, you should still do it because there are things like investigation and whatnot you're just not going to be able to do on your own. You have to have a skill.
Yeah, the role is more something to assist.
Exactly.
Button doesn't replace role-playing.
Right. And in this system, I think because the way it is written and the way the setting and everything else is set up and the way the system is set up, to really be able to be beneficial in all situations, you have to roll more frequently. The biggest thing I had a hard time remembering was that the defender always rolls first. So the defender rolls and then the aggressor tries to beat the defender's roll. That was not new to me. It's just something that is not intuitive to me.
It makes sense. It gives you the aggressor a target number.
Yeah,
right.
It totally makes sense. I do like it. It was hard for me to remember to do that as the GM, where I normally just set a difficulty number and let you roll, which I was still doing at the end anyways. I was just rolling dice to make it sound like I was actually rolling. By the end of the adventure, I was using the basic story, but I had pretty much broken away from the setting altogether, the system altogether, and was just kind of doing what I wanted to do to make the pacing right. And that may be a fault of the game mechanic. It may be a fault of the writing of the adventure. It may be the fault of my players being completely irrational sometimes and doing whatever would be least efficient for the story.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But that's all right. I mean, that's what a GM is for, is to be able to adapt those things. And if you get to a point where you have to break away from the system, don't be afraid of it. I mean, that's what we did at the end, and I think the last two adventures we played were actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. On that note, I don't think I have a whole lot else to talk about in the Firefly game. Anybody else want to talk about the Firefly? Anything else?
No, just overall, I enjoyed it.
Look forward to playing it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially.
I'd like to make my own.
I'm
looking forward to it where we can make our own characters.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you think, Laura? Counting everything, the system, the playability, the quality of the book, everything. What do you think?
4, maybe?
Derek?
Yeah, I'd give it a 4.
Brandon?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 3, 3.5.
Yeah.
But
you're a harsher critic.
I'm kind of a douche. I'll give it a 4 just because I need to thank Margaret Weiss Productions for getting us a copy of this book to actually review it. So, and I need to get I need to get Monica on again. I think that she really sells it well.
Yeah.
I was so excited to play the game after spending that 15 minutes playing with her.
Yeah.
It didn't live up to what she had billed me, and it was totally my fault. She was so excited about it. I mean, when you watch the video, she is so really passionate about the game. She's very, very into it. And she's a very talented writer, so I'm looking forward to being able to talk to her again. And on that, we're actually ahead of schedule. Check that out.
Hey.
What else we got coming up? We've got the games we talked about. We already said what games we're going to be covering, or at least some of them. We've got Youmacon coming up. We've got Confusion probably coming up. We've got all of next year to look forward to. Woohoo! A bunch of new games. This is the first episode of Season 3. We're hoping to be able to get them out regularly. I know I've said that before on every episode, and then we go 6 months without doing one. But we are working on some new stuff for the show. Derek and I need to work on the wrestling podcast again as well, since that's been a little slow to get going. The wrestling's been good, though. So
yes,
check out The Quest at ironheartedivore.com. You can check us out on Facebook and Twitter at ironheartedivore. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and all those fun places like that. You can also check out the Iron Heartedivore podcast, the official podcast of the ironheartedivore.com website, and, the rest of us. And that's available again at ironheartedivore.com. I had something else, but I don't know what it was. So, I don't know. We can basically bullshit for about 4 minutes if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can call it a night. Yeah, let's just call it a night then.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. Yeah,
no one wants to listen to us ramble for another
10 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever it is.
I don't know.
Do you want to listen to us ramble for 4 more minutes?
I can always ramble.
Unless you want to talk about the mega game. You didn't really explain what a mega game was.
I am interested in that, and if Morgan does say that he wants to go forward with it, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help with the procuring of stuff for that.
So the mega games, what a mega game is, and this is the best I can do to describe it in the time that I have. It's a giant board game, role-playing game, live action RPG. So the one that we're going to do is Watch the Skies, which is by a group called Mega Games Productions or something like that from the UK. They're a UK-based group. I don't know it. You can just Google Mega Games and you'll find them. They wrote a very good game. It's based very much on the XCOM games, which I absolutely love XCOM, where you get a bunch of people together in a room, and it's usually 4 to 6 teams, I think it's 4 to 8 teams of nations. So 4 players per nation, up to 9 players for the aliens, and a news team. And the news team can affect global panic and things like that, and they report every gaming, every round, every turn, which are 30 minutes long. Then the countries, it's 4 people per country. Some of them have 5, like the United States is actually 5 people. But the first round is everyone living in the political world that is the reality of the game. And then at the beginning of round 2, aliens show up, and now you're having fun with all of that. You don't know why they're there. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know how to react to them. And it's players on players. You don't really know what's ever going to happen. There's no set script. There's no set storyline. You can role play. Only certain players can go to certain areas of the game. So certain players can go play with the map. Certain players can talk to other countries. Certain players go and deal with the UN crisis. There are actual events happening in the world at the same time. So there's Ebola outbreaks, and there's starvation going on, and world panic, and terrorism, and all these things that the GMs, the game control staff, throw at you, along with aliens going on. And there's a video out there that you can find and watch. And I tell you what, I watched this video, and I really, really, really want to play. But since the only games that are going on, there's one in San Diego, or there was one in San Diego, I think, and then the rest of them are in the UK and France. I pretty much got to run my own. So
I know they're talking about doing one that was based off of like Japan feudal society or something. Yeah,
I've got
they're doing
as well
in San Diego. I think this December.
Yeah,
but
San Diego's an awful long drive.
Yeah.
From Michigan. I do have the Sengoku game as well, and I'm actually working on modifying Sengoku to be Legend of the Five Rings, and I'm going to talk to some of the people at AEG, hopefully, and see about being able to do that at Gen Con next year. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it'll happen because I'm not sure there'll be time or money to do it, but they look like a lot of fun. I've got a lot of experience running LARP, but I got a lot of experience running tabletop RPGs, so it's right up my alley, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So look at that. We killed our time.
Nice.
All right, on that note, I think that'll do it for me and everybody else here at the Wandering Pod Studios. On behalf of myself, my normally it's my cat and my dog, but this isn't in my house. So, it's not. So on behalf of myself and everyone here at Wandering Pod Studios, my co-hosts Laura, Derek, and Brandon, so long and thanks for all the fish.
Please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. You know it hurts me so. Baby, I'm way down here. You know I'm way down here. Baby, I'm way down here in a rolling fog. Baby, please